Welcome to An American Homestead, podcasting live from deep within the Ozark Mountains at an elevation of 2,200 feet. It's 10 Eastern, 9 Central, and it's good to be back. Glad all you guys could join us tonight. I see the chat room filling up, and I got a full stack of stuff. There's no way we're going to be able to get through it all tonight. There's just way too much stuff. We're going to try our best, way too much to talk about. Lots of good articles. Lots of things happening on the homestead throughout the week, so we're going to try our best to get through at least most of it. Jamie's with me as always. I have my coffee. It's half and half decaf, half. I put a little bit of regular in there because there just wasn't enough decaf left. But so it's going to be an exciting show. Anyway, the show is sponsored by GasSpouts.com. GasSpouts.com. You can go to the website and get rid of all your crazy China Mart gas spouts that you find at the store. You know, those old gas cans, you know, with the child-proof, more like adult-proof safety nozzles on the gas cans. You can go to GasSpouts.com and switch them out for affordable gas spouts that pour very fast. They're very safe, and you can get them with a 20% discount with our coupon code. It's AAH20 off. AAH20 off. 20% off your purchase at GasSpouts.com. They're a sponsor of the show. Go over there and just tell them hi for us. You know, if you buy something, and let them know you heard about it at An American Homestead. You know, our either our website or the podcast will be great. So, sponsored by GasSpouts.com. We'll talk about that some more later because we have another giveaway coming up. Hey, listen, folks, if you're interested in more outstanding homestead channels, you can check out thehomesteadnetwork.com and go to their show times. That's thehomesteadnetwork.com and see all kinds of amazing homesteads. We are the late show on the Homestead Network, and we follow the Deep South Homestead that comes on at 8 Central and 9 Eastern every Saturday night. And so every Saturday night we're the late show that follows after Deep South Homestead. If you want to find more great channels, go to thehomesteadnetwork.com, click on that show times, and you'll see a whole list of other channels and places that have great American homesteading content that you will enjoy. I think that's all the house cleaning stuff I have to talk about when I open the show. So what do we do this week? It's the same question every week.
I know, it's the same question.
You just got to be thinking ahead of time.
It's supposed to be summer. I'm sitting here with my sweater on.
Yeah, we got some cold nights coming in, guys. Really weird. There's going to be a few nights. Let's see what the... No, not yet. But later on tonight, they say it's going to be like a low tonight of 59. It's 66 out there now.
Yeah, but I've been getting used to some hot weather, and all of a sudden it cools off again. Now I'm cold.
Yeah, that's not normal for this time of year. Absolutely not normal. But we're going to enjoy it for the next week. We got some lows going to be in the upper 50s, and some highs going to be in the nice manageable 80s, low 80s. Yeah. So that's good for plant growing and some other things.
I'm ready for some heat.
I know. Well,
Zach hates the heat.
I got robbed of winter this last winter. So what do we do this week? We had Papa Pepper from STEEMIT showed up with his family, and he brought us some gifts and some plants. Mm-hmm. And I have a new fig tree to plant. Yeah, that's going to be cool. And he brought me some stinging nettle because up until this point, I have been looking for stinging nettle, and I have not been able to find it on the homestead. On our 50 acres. So he brought us some. He said he had some stinging nettle. I said, hey, bring us some because we've used it for tea. It's got a lot of medicinal values for you herbalists out there. A very good plant. It can make your life, very painful for 3 days or so if you get hit by one. But if you know how to handle the plant, it's very safe to deal with, and it can be very good medicinally. So he brought us some of that, and then he brought us some hops.
Oh, uh-huh.
Some hops that we can grow. And hops, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not into growing, making your own beer, which I'm not really. We make our own wine, but we're not really into making our own beer. It's just a lot more equipment that I have to buy. But hops are a great way to shade your house. Like if you have southern exposure for your house, you can put up some lattice. Is that the right word? Latticing?
Lattice work.
Lattice work. And you grow that up, and it will completely shade the side of your house. It will grow up the side of a house all the way to the roof. It's an amazing plant.
Huh.
So it's a great way to keep a house cool, especially if you're like us and you don't have air conditioning. So really, really glad that Papa Pepper stopped by with his family and got to meet them. They're a great bunch of folks. We made a couple videos for the YouTube channel, and obviously we posted it on STEEMIT. He posted his video on STEEMIT, and if you're interested in that video, you can go over to his channel and watch the video that we did. We made a STEEMIT post, and basically what we did was just cut down a piece of cedar, carve it into a point, hammer it into the ground, and put a STEEMIT sign on it and called it a STEEMIT post. So this is how homesteaders make a post on STEEMIT.
You're so crazy.
So it was a fun time.
Yeah, we talked a lot about being off-grid, and they're really interested in that.
They're looking to doing it.
I rarely run into a woman who is really, really, really interested to the point that she's asking all the right questions, that she's actually thought about it and really wants to do it. And I was really impressed with her ambition, and it's not very often that I get so much excitement when people see how I do what I do, because usually I hear, oh, wow, yeah, I don't think I could do that.
Well, you should have seen.
But she got really excited.
She should have seen her eyes light up when she saw your laundry station. And she was like, ooh, 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 you know. She was like, and Papa Pepper looked at me. His name's Kevin. He looked at me and says, I'm going to have to build this, I guess.
What we also had to remind them that is brand new. We did laundry for, at least 4.5 years now, before that fancy thing came along.
Yeah.
So
right.
It takes some time, but still, I was really impressed with how she was interested, and that was cool.
Yeah, so we had a good time, and they were really excited about their 8 acres they got. It's about 2 hours away from where we live that they purchased, and so we'll definitely be seeing more of them. And I've told people who are new to STEEMIT to find his channel. Go watch that video. You can find a link to his channel. And he's got some videos that are very beginner friendly that will show you how to get started with STEEMIT, understand it, and then begin to make your post on there. So very good information. He's the top guy to go to. In fact, I think he's of the entire STEEMIT community, he is in the top 10 in rank when it comes to people who follow him. So he does have a lot of clout over there. He's not considered a whale. That's a terminology they use on that website, but he has definitely got a big following. So anyway, other things going on. Like I said, we have a lot of stuff to cover today. We worked on tomatoes this week. We did a video on the 3 top tips. We'll talk about that some more a little bit. 3 top tips on growing tomatoes. Went out there this week, and I was doing a lot of pruning on my tomatoes because my tomatoes I kind of let go a little bit, and they needed to be pruned, and some of them were getting a little more aphids than I like to see on them. And really, folks, if you prune those tomatoes, you cut down those lower leaves, you cut them off the plant, remove them, and expose those tomatoes. Just open up the plant to airflow. You're going to cut down on disease. You're going to cut down on aphids. Because the aphids have predators. Daddy longlegs and other insects will search them out. In fact, the Latin name for a daddy longleg is aphid sucker. It means aphid sucker. And so there are lots of insects. If you expose the plant and open it up, if you have aphids, you can use things like neem oil and Sal Suds and other organic natural remedies for those things. But just opening up the plant will expose those insects, those aphids, to other insects that are predators of aphids, and you'll do a lot better with them. So that's one thing I had to do. And plus, opening up the plant, I didn't have a lot of issues last year with tomato hornworms, but when you open up the plant, it exposes those issues before they become a true problem. If a tomato hornworm gets up to some size and goes to work on a tomato plant, if you don't notice it right away, you will go out there one day, just after you've been out there and everything looks okay the day before, and you'll have an entire tomato plant that has been decimated in one day, usually what it seems like, by one worm. Because you weren't keeping a close eye on things. And by opening up that plant, it allows problems to be seen a lot quicker, so that you don't miss them, and you can find a problem worm real quick and pull them off the plant and get rid of them. So anyway, did that this week. Worked on our tomatoes and caged up some more. I got a few more I still need to cage up. Got some much needed rain yesterday, and so that was cool. We really needed that rain, and I'm gonna have to go out, I think, on my sugarcane field and do some weeding. I got a lot of weeds that are coming up that didn't come up last year. I don't know what kind of seed got in there, but there's some weeds coming up amongst my sugarcane. I'm gonna go pull some weeds. So that's one thing I'm gonna probably do tomorrow. And then we got a big garlic harvest video will be coming out this week. The largest garlic harvest we've ever had.
There's a lot of garlic.
Yeah, so it's all harvested. It's all sitting out right now on 3 folding tables drying on our deck. And what we're going to do is let that dry for the rest of the night tonight, and then tomorrow morning I'm going to get up and start peeling those outer layers of it off, and then we'll braid it. And we're going to have a lot of braids of garlic, so it's going to be really, really nice to have that. And I think we're going to maybe give one braid away to a small. We'll do a small braid and give it away to our patrons, one of our patrons, probably our $10 or $20 level patrons. We seem to be having some trouble with squash this year.
Yeah, I'm kind of scared.
You had you picked out the cream of the crop squash.
Yeah.
I put that out one day and a few weeks ago, and all of those seeds popped up and then they failed. They died. And so I planted them again. And it looks like this time they're doing a little bit better. There's a few leaves on them. But I'm wondering, I don't know if it's going to take or not. We're going to have to wait and see. I'm trying my best to give it the best shot at life that I possibly can.
I know.
But our other squash, I checked on it Friday, and they're so-so. The big squash, usually the Ozark Mountain potato that we sell on the website, that's doing okay. It's doing okay. I've had a few failures on that, but it looks like it's going to survive. And our delicata looks like it's going to survive. Is it called delicata? Delicata?
Yeah, I think so. Delicata.
Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to the delicata, but I know you want the cream of the crop squash to come in.
Yeah, I just read that it was really good for long-term storage, that it lasts.
And our Ozark Mountain potato is really good for that. We've had, we'll keep it for a year. Do we still have one?
Yeah, we still have one from last summer.
We still have one.
So I mean, it's perfectly fine.
Yeah, they last forever. I mean, they're just great. They're great to shelve, and you don't need any time. We don't have any air conditioning in this house or central heat, so it's whatever the temperature is what it is, and they do great on the shelf. So
yeah, it's just sitting on my shelf in the kitchen.
We had our first trip to the creek this week. It was hot, folks. It was hot.
Yeah, it was hot, but it was gonna get hotter.
I mean, yeah, okay. It was 90. It hit 90, and
it got to 90, yeah.
And so we were like, okay, we're going to the creek.
Yeah.
So we loaded up, and I did a video for the patrons of us going to the creek.
But it was amazing when we got home. It's like this every year. It's like you're so hot, and you get in the water. And, you're in the water about an hour or so, and then you come home, and it makes the end of the day just, I did dishes, which involves sticking my hands in hot water. I had the oven on. Maybe I didn't have the oven on. No, I think maybe I did for a little bit.
Yeah.
And so I'm cooking. I'm cooking in the kitchen. With the burners going, with the oven on, washing dishes in hot water, and
that cold water.
And it was almost 90 degrees inside with all of that going on. I think maybe it did get to 90. I forget. Anyway, it was hot, but I was cool. I was fine. I wasn't even sweating after I had been to the creek.
You get in that water, it gets on your clothes, and you're good for the rest of the evening. And usually you take a cold shower. At night before you go to bed, you can take a cold shower, and that just makes you sleep so good. At night, you take a cold shower, and you want to take a cold shower because it's not really that cold when you think about it. If it's 90 degrees, in the house because you don't have air conditioning, that cold water just feels amazing, and you sleep like a baby because it's just so good. But that's the only thing I like about summer is the cold showers and the creek, and that's it. Because I hate the bugs, I hate the heat.
I like the tomatoes.
I'm looking forward to pico de gallo. We got our first jalapenos this week, so it's not going to be very long. My tomatoes are growing, so we're going to have fresh pico here very soon.
We've had some cucumbers, and lots of lettuce.
Are you ready to get busy? Because the harvest is going to start coming in. There's green beans out there.
Waiting.
The green beans will be here maybe this next week.
Yeah.
And you already start. What?
Well, we'll eat
We've-
some green beans. I'm still not sure how many I'm gonna can.
we have-
I'll can whatever we can't eat, but you didn't plan as many as previous
I just
years.
planted one row.
I still have green beans left from last year.
But it's getting ready to come in. It's getting ready to get busy around here in the outdoor kitchen. So, I got my part. A lot of you guys have been asking about my track loader. We're going to be getting a dozer on the property, and boy, will we be terrorizing the neighborhood when that happens. We're going to be tearing some stuff up. So, the track loader, I call it dozer. It's really a track loader. It's a D7, and I got a great deal on it. $1,500 from a guy. His name is Bob, and great guy, him and his wife. We'll talk more about him this week. You'll probably see them in a video because we're going over to their house on Monday, and we're going to show you something really super special. I'm not going to say what it is on the air.
Okay, good.
She's just, they don't listen to our podcast, so you don't have to worry about it.
I know.
So, all right. Hey, this is going to be really special, folks. Really super special. You're going to love this. You're not going to miss this. You got to be waiting for this video coming out this week.
It's still like I'm not.
It's going to be great. You just got to wait.
You
I love it.
You put me on the videos and everything, but I'm not used to being the center of attention. Like, I'm not that kind of a person.
It's great. It's going to be great. You guys are going to love it. I love it. Jamie's a little standoffish.
Uncertain,
but it's going to be great. So you'll have to wait to see what that is. But anyway, Bob is the guy who sold me the track loader, $1,500. Just needed a part and a new pump. So we got the new pump, and I got to get this part now that arrived from Canada this week. And so I'm going to put that on the track loader. We're going to get the thing started, and then we're going to move it over to a shop in town, and they're going to change out the idler wheel for me. And then after that, it can move to the Homestead, and it's going to get to work. So we'll talk some more about that this week in the videos on YouTube. You'll have to wait and see. And then just real quick, the gas spouts winner we had over at STEEMIT was Nightingale 49. Nightingale 49. Thank you very much for playing. I need you to contact me through the website. I haven't heard back from her on STEEMIT or him on STEEMIT. I guess Nightingale, it could be a girl or a guy. I don't know. I just figured it would be a girl. But anyway, she registered for it, or he registered for it because they needed it on STEEMIT. Left a comment with the code, and you are the winner. So if you're listening to the podcast, you need to go ahead and contact me through the website at AmericanHomestead.com and give me your address. High flow giveaway. So Gas Spouts is sending us some high flow gas spouts. And ladies and gentlemen, these are amazing. This gas spout, it's different than the regular gas spouts, but it'll empty a 5-gallon gas can in 35 seconds. 35 seconds. 5 gallons. Okay, it's not something that works on your car, but it's a high-flow gas spout. We're going to be giving one of these away this week, so stay tuned for that. That's all of the news we got for you. Let's go ahead and get to our first article. And this is, because this has been something, as living in the homestead world, we know people like this. I mean, we know people who've done this, who have moved out of the United States.
Yeah.
Okay, and there's because I was watching this guy on YouTube, and he had no idea that this homesteading thing was ever a thing. He was amazed at this. There's people actually who homestead, and it's a thing. And there's a section of homesteaders who choose to homestead out of the country, out of the United States. They move they move to either Costa Rica, they move to Ecuador, different South American countries, because there's in some of those countries there is a little bit of freedom there that other countries don't have, and they're very accepting of American dollars coming in, especially if you have a way to make money online. So this article, it's offthegridnews.com. It says she moved her kids out of the U.S. It was her best parenting decision ever. So I disagree. I absolutely disagree with this, but I thought we'd discuss it, and I'd read the article and get Jamie's thoughts on it too, and see what you guys think. We'll talk about it in the comments of the show after we're done here when we get to the comments. But it starts off the best, and guys, on all the articles we talk about, links are in the description below, so you can follow along with us. Just go to the description of the video you're watching and click on the link. That'll take you to the article, and you can read along with us. as we read it. It says, the best way to raise your kids with an old-fashioned American values might be to move to another country. Mother and writer Wendy Deschambault, I don't know how it's French. Deschambault discovered the intriguing paradox when she, her husband, and 2 sons moved to the South American nation of Ecuador. I moved my kids out of America, Deschambault wrote in a feature for The Week. It was the best parenting decision I've ever made. That's some bold words. Back in 2011, Deschambault and her family traded their home in small-town USA for life in a modest mountain village in Ecuador. Her sons were 7 and 9, and she noticed some interesting effects after living in the developing nation for a few years. For one, there is a refreshing lack of materialism in Ecuador. Though we live comfortably here in Ecuador, my sons are surrounded by families that work hard and live simply. Deschambault wrote, there is no internet shopping. There are no big box stores stuffed to the brim with the latest useless merchandise. And Christmas in these parts is about church and family and not piles of presents and deepening debt. While there are still kids with wants and desires, runaway consumerism and material greed has passed right by my boys, Deschambault wrote. When they do something special, they're willing to work for it. Like when my eldest son baked and sold cupcakes to earn money for that electric piano keyboard he had been eyeing. Ecuador is a Spanish-speaking nation with an average income of just $11,000 a year, according to the CIA World Factbook. Despite that, Deschambault loves it there and thinks the country is great for her sons. Theme parks and big animal attractions aren't a thing here, so my kids never see Shamu or visit the fairy tale castles of Disneyland. Deschambault reported, while some might say my children have been denied a crucial childhood experience, I would argue the opposite. It goes on to say, they've never set foot in an adrenaline-inducing water park, but they have snorkeled with sea lions, penguins, and sea turtles, she observed. They may not have access to the larger-than-life man-made attractions, excuse me, but they have a world of true adventure at their fingertips. The boys also have learned important virtues like patience and hard work. Living in a country where instant gratification is a laughable concept, you learn to develop some mad waiting skills, she wrote. When my youngest found that his 11th birthday present was going to arrive 2 weeks late, he took it in stride. That's okay, Mom. We'll celebrate my birthday when it gets here. I know that if this had happened to me, my 11-year-old self would have collapsed into tears. It goes on to say, and this is the finish of it, when her sons return to the U.S., she said they'll have a leg up. In a world where the up-and-coming generation is castigated for their feelings of entitlement and inability to handle disappointment, my sons have no notions of being owed a thing, she wrote. Now, if you're, with our channel, if you've been with our channel any amount of time, you know that you would think I would agree with this article. But I disagree with it.
You're sitting next to your wife who was raised in a foreign country.
Right. Why? So I ask you, why would you think I disagree with this article?
I would think you would disagree with it on the very fact that you've often said that preparedness is hard in a foreign country because you never will completely fit in.
You won't. It's exactly right. However, we live in Arkansas, in a very remote part of Arkansas in the Ozarks.
Yeah.
Would you not say that our boys have gotten every benefit that she has listed here for the most part?
Yeah, for the most part.
I mean, they haven't snorkeled with sea lions, but I mean, they see all kinds of wildlife here that most kids never get to see.
The wildlife thing is, I think that you can have that here in the United States. Of course, it's going to be a different kind of wildlife. I don't know, though. Listening to her article, having been raised in a foreign country, I can completely resonate with what she's saying, because there were times that we knew that boxes were coming with gifts from the United States, and they didn't arrive until 6 months later.
You might want to tell people where you grew up at, just in case they don't know.
In Papua New Guinea, which is the second largest island in the world. Yes, you heard that right. The second. Greenland is the largest. Papua New Guinea is the second largest.
I thought Australia was the largest.
It's a continent. Anyway, so it is above Australia, though. The island of Papua New Guinea is above Australia. It splits the island right down the middle between Malaysia on one side, being Irian Jaya, belonging to Malaysia, and the other side being the country of Papua New Guinea. Okay, so I can resonate with this article. Just the very fact of what she is saying with materialism. Yes, we live in very rural America, and so materialism out here is not like what it would be if we lived in the middle of a city.
Absolutely not. Right.
But it's still not like what it would be if we lived in a country overseas. We can get whatever we want whenever we want, whether it's ordering it online, buying at Walmart, driving an hour and a half to get to a city to purchase what it is available. In a third world country, it's simply not.
Right.
And so I can resonate with what she is saying. And, I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. I agree when you say it's hard when you are doing it for preparedness reasons because you will never completely fit in. But when it comes to...
But a lot of the perks, okay, the whole thing with materialism, I totally agree. But my issue with this article is that the two things is, number one, if you live in a foreign country, a third world country, and you're an American, you're never truly going to fit in. And if hard times ever come upon that country, you're going to stick out like a sore thumb and you're going to be in dire straits. History proves that out. Number two, most of these benefits of living in...
And they end up trying to make it to the American embassy.
Right. They run to the American embassy to save them. Right.
Just to be safe.
And what they do is just start another problem.
I get that.
So, history proves that out. So my thing is, the other benefits in here, you can find in rural America. You can find, I think, the whole thing with the materialism, yeah, you can go to Walmart, eventually if it's 2 or 3 hours away, but it's not as easy as getting in the car and 5 minutes later you're at the Walgreens or, drugstore or Walmart. Here you can't do that. I mean, if you want to go to town, it's a 2-hour trip. And so you don't have... Back. So a lot, and not only that, but where we live here, our kids are getting an experience that most kids are never going to be able to have with their interaction with nature, with just the locals and the people here, because people consider Arkansas, some of the parts of the Ozarks and other parts of even Appalachia, third world countries, because people there are so poor. They're ignored by the rest of America. There are places in America just like that. That people have forgotten about. Appalachia being, some parts of Appalachia being one of them, the Ozarks being one, some parts of the Pacific Northwest being other parts where people live like they're in a third world country. Right?
Yeah, I agree. I mean,
I think here's the deal.
So much of me just wishes that we could go back in time, though. It's not possible.
No. But here's the deal. My biggest issue with living outside of this country is, and why I would never do it, is I can't own a firearm outside this country. The only place that comes close is New Zealand, when it comes to firearms rights. And don't try to tell me you can't, because I own AR-15, an AR-15 and an AK, and you cannot take those to those countries. You cannot take my Glock to those countries. You're just not allowed to have those things. And so when it comes to true freedom, there are places in this country where you can have that.
The other part, though, about living in a third world country is being able to relate to different nationalities. I think it opens up your worldview in ways that just experiencing Americans does not.
I agree. Yeah, you need to have that experience at some point in your life to see other cultures, understand that not everyone lives the way you do.
I think it's so important for children to be well-rounded that way. And I mean, I remember when I was 7, I just was about to turn 7, and we had just arrived in Papua New Guinea, and I distinctly remember sitting on my bed. We were kind of like in a little bunkhouse kind of situation when we first arrived, and I remember sitting on my bed and counting on my fingers the number of countries that I had just learned about that week. 6 years old. When, at 6 years old, you're in first grade, the world is just starting to open up to you. You're just starting to learn things. And all of a sudden, I was able to count off all of these new countries that I had just heard about. But even more than that, I knew somebody from each of those countries. And so when you think about just I'm on my soapbox, but I think that
Watch out.
When children learn, they need to learn through experiences. And for me, I'll never forget that, because all of a sudden my world was huge, because not only had I heard about a little country named the Netherlands, but I had actually met somebody from there who was telling me about it. And I had a little girlfriend who was from there, and it made it real. Like, the vastness of the world was real. Yeah, that's my soapbox.
Okay. Again,
our kids don't have that.
No.
I'm doing my best to teach them geography through lots of living stories, but still, they don't have that.
They don't have that experience. And I mean, who knows what they'll experience later in life, but
and it's not right or wrong. It's just was my experience, and it made me. I feel that it made me into the person that I am today.
Right. I think that you can there's a different perspective of the world by living here or in different parts of the country that are forgotten, that people in the cities are never going to get, and so they just think of Arkansas as flyover country, or Appalachia as flyover country, different parts like that, and they never go there. We've met people who've never left their city they've been born in. They've been there their whole life. And then they're in their middle age.
But too, like, the other thing about it is living in a third world country is that you, as a kid, you don't grow up with entitlement. Like, there's something about being American that makes you grow up with this entitlement kind of mentality.
Well, that's just more about the programming in the schools and stuff, don't you think?
But, America is the best country, and woohoo, America. And, I mean, I'm really, really not trying to be unpatriotic, but the reality is we're one country.
Right.
And when you experience people from around the world, you realize that.
Here's why I'll never move off. I'll move out of the United States. I will never move my family out of the United States, and it's because you still have the most freedoms in this country. Out of all the other countries, you still have the most freedoms. And
I know. I'm not saying we move.
Oh, no. We're never moving. But I'm just saying that there's no way I would ever homestead outside this country, because I don't have the ability to own a firearm anywhere else, like I want. And that's my biggest thing. I'm a Second Amendment guru. And if you're not going to take away my ability to defend my family or myself, just not going to happen. And I feel blessed to live in this country, in America, because this is the only country on earth where you can really do that and not have the government down your back all the time about it. So, and, that's because of things like the NRA and other organizations, with millions of people who are members of those organizations that keep that freedom intact. Okay, so, I told you we had a lot of stuff. We're not even going to get past our second article, I don't think, today. So let's move on real quick. I got this other article I want to get through. At least I want to mention the other articles. How to Prune Tomatoes. So it's over at theplantguide.net. Pruning tomatoes, that was a big thing this week, is doing that. And so there's a lot of good tips on there. If you've never pruned your tomatoes, you're growing your tomatoes, you've never done this, and you don't have somebody who's an experienced gardener to show you what it is, there is an amazing graphic image over there to show you some of the things you need to do for your tomatoes to ensure it gets remarkable growth. So it shows you what a sucker is, and that you need to pull those off. And because if you're not quick about it, if you miss them, those suckers will grow up very quickly into giant branches, and they will try to grow their own tomatoes. And that sucks energy out of the plant that could be growing into the main stem and main clusters of the tomatoes, and what you're going to have is smaller tomatoes. So
what's the difference between that and one of the branches?
Well, the branches don't grow, they just grow up to here and they just have leaves on them. But these suckers will grow into a whole new plant. You can actually plant the suckers and grow new plants out of them if you know what you're doing. But the suckers, you pull those off because they suck energy out. And if you leave those suckers on, you will have smaller tomatoes and just a smaller plant. It won't be as vibrant. And so if you really want a well-producing plant, pull those suckers off at least for the first month or so of growing the plant. Usually later on, I let them go and I get lots of tomatoes off of them because I've been pulling them off the whole time. And so later on, when this plant gets really big, I'll leave the suckers on there, and it'll grow into more tomatoes, and I'll have just an abundance of tomatoes. But I'm really picky about making sure I pull those off, and you need to be too. Like right now, early summer is when you need to be on top of those suckers because, man, if you forget them, they'll get big really fast, and that's all the energy that was lost going into that plant. So anyway, it's a great article. I thought I'd mention it. If you want to check it out, it's linked in the description below. It gives all kinds of other tips and stuff, reasons why you prune it. Like I mentioned before, lessens disease and earlier ripening the plant's leaves, and it all kinds of great information there. So check that out. And if you're interested in learning more about tomatoes, if you're in the midst of learning your gardening, that's a great article to get started with. A lot of good information. Okay, so they got that one out of the way. We're on article number 3. So this was a good one. What was life like for your poorest ancestors? And I think we could probably spend a lot of time on this, and I really want to get to the last article. But just real quick, it says, what was life like for your poorest ancestors? How did they live? It mentions workhouses and things like that. Really good history, maybe for the boys this week if you wanted to go over it. But it talks about poorhouses and workhouses and what did the poor people do in early America, how they lived in Britain, and some of the similarities between the two. And so really good article, I thought. I like we're a history family. Jamie's really gotten involved in history for our homeschool. And so she's really been diving into some of that. And when I see an article like this on the Homestead websites that I frequent, I take notice because it's good learning.
This was after the Industrial Revolution, though, wasn't it?
Yes. Yeah. So
Yeah.
what they do is they put people to work, the poorest of the poor. And if they didn't work, they basically were cut off from the community.
Yeah, they took, oh my gosh. I mean, it's so sad what they used to do to the littlest children. 3 and 4 years old, they used to put the little children to work.
Yeah, that's a little crazy.
But they would make them get under the machinery and clean out from under the machinery, but they wouldn't stop the machinery. And only the little children could fit under there. And so that was their job.
Yeah. And
I mean, just imagine the death toll.
Yeah, there was a lot of...
But parents had no choice. They were so poor that any body to do work was sent to work.
Well, they would go to workhouses, and the parents would be separated from the children. The children would go to work, and the parents would go to work, and they wouldn't see each other for sometimes months on end.
I know, it's crazy.
There's an article here where it talks about it was... then the forlorn bewilderment of it struck me, for there we were made to separate, mother going in one direction and children's ward, and we were in the other.
I mean,
children's ward.
this is why child labor laws got started.
Yeah. Anyway, so in order to see your children one day, this is Charlie Chaplin, how he lived his life early on as a child in the workhouse. Chaplin's mother discharged all of their children, including Charlie, from the workhouse for an afternoon outing in the park, only to have them all re-enter later that afternoon. So she hadn't seen their children in some time, and then had to go back to the workhouse after they had seen each other. Went to the park.
It's crazy.
But anyway, the article is really cool. It has a great ending. It says, these are painful stories to relive, even secondhand, but if you think your ancestors' names exist, say in the New York census of inmates in almshouses and poorhouses, 1830 to 1920, take heart, you are their success story. So that's kind of a cool ending, I thought. But anyway, great history lesson there. People might enjoy it. I did. So check it out. Last and not least, before we head over to the chat room and see what's going on over there, this was a cool article, ridiculous article. I always got to try to find a ridiculous article. And that is this one here. A Nomad collapsible hot tub. Nomad collapsible hot tub. What do you think about that? Can we get one of those?
You guys, I'm just kind of, you can't see my expression, but I'm a little speechless.
It's a Nomad collapsible hot tub.
Okay.
Basically what it is, they have a picture of a guy cutting firewood and using it to build a fire and heat his hot tub next to the ocean because you wouldn't want to swim in the ocean. You have a hot tub with you that you're carrying.
I guess if he could get the water from the ocean, that would be all right.
Well, he got the wood from somewhere. He's cutting the wood, and
wood doesn't look...
He had to haul the water from somewhere because the water
That wood doesn't look like freshly split wood. It looks like wood from the store.
Yeah, it's Home Depot wood that they sell in $5 bundles.
It's the nice clean wood that you can buy for your nice clean fire in your nice clean fireplace.
So my question is, if you're in the wilderness and you're a nomad, why would you be hauling around a hot tub that you have to start with a fire?
Because he wants it.
I guess. Guys, this is ridiculous. But, I mean, and they say, well, you can use it in your backyard. So they have a backyard setup. Look at this. So we're looking at the pictures on the website, right? And again, linked in the description below. They have a propane tank heated up to heat the pipes to heat the hot tub.
Yeah. All right. Well, I if that's what you like.
I just think it's ridiculous. But, what do you think? Maybe you'll want one of these. I don't know. Maybe you'll use it at your house. Maybe your kids will love it. I just think that, going to the pool is a lot better. And, wintertime is not for swimming if you need a hot tub.
Yeah, wintertime in the old-fashioned world, they used to get in the little bathtub, which was the kind of tub that I use for laundry, wash tub. And they would sit it right next to the wood stove, fill it with hot water from the wood stove, and that was your bath once a week.
The article says, wouldn't it be nice to go in the middle of nature yet maintain some of the comfortable life from indoors? Now you can partially do so right from a duffel bag. I don't know. If I'm going to go camping out in the wilderness somewhere for whatever time frame or however long, I'm not bringing a hot tub with me. I'm just not. And all the stuff that goes with it. Just not going to do that. But hey, your mileage may vary. This may be right up your alley. This may be just the thing you're looking for. Check it out. Link in the description below. Let's head over to the chat room. Going over to the chat room, I see Simple Life Homestead is moderating. Weed Tree Bonsai's in the house. Rain Country's in the house. The moderators are here. Glad to have you among us.
Yes.
You make me feel safe.
Glamour camping is glamping. Yes.
Yeah, glamour camping.
Yes, glamping.
Guys, if you have a question, please put it in all caps so that we can see it. I'm going to go ahead and pop out the chat. And please put all of your comments.
The only way I would use one of those if it was just our family, and we hardly ever just camp with just our family.
No,
there's always other people around, even like at a campsite or something. I would never get in a hot tub like that with other people around.
Again, put all your questions and comments that you want us to respond to in caps so that we see it. It's easier to see it that way, and I don't pass it over. But if you have any questions, go ahead and send them to us now. We'll be able to stay on for the next 15 minutes and answer them. So, He Provides Homestead asks, are you doing VidMe? I did open a VidMe account. Who was the guy I was watching? It was somebody on YouTube who opened a VidMe account, and he had been demonetized most of his videos by YouTube, and he was really frustrated. So we went over to VidMe, and he was getting a lot of his stuff on the trending page over at VidMe, and VidMe started censoring his videos over there as well. And his stuff is not that controversial. He just sits there and talks to people about preparedness. I forgot his name now. He's got a lot of following. He's got like 100,000 subscribers over at YouTube. And he was getting his videos demonetized, and all he was doing was just sitting a lot of times in his car or sitting and talking to people. And he started an account at VidMe, and he was getting censored over there too. So once I heard that, and I was getting a lot of people joining at VidMe on our account, but I said, you know what? That's when I found STEEMIT, and I was like, you know what? I'm done. And then I learned about the blockchain and how that worked. I'm like, nope, not gonna do VidMe. For those of you guys who do VidMe, great. I'm going to stick on STEEMIT, at least for now. So I'm happy with that. Are there details about how to participate in the fall feast? I know a lot of people are asking that because it's getting close, and a lot of people know that we're getting ready to announce when those dates are, and it's going to be soon. We basically, what we do is we have about 100 people out camping on our property in the fall, and we haven't announced that yet. So If you know where to go to find the information, I'm not going to mention it here, but you can go there and wait for that announcement. But, it's coming up. I am not seeing any videos being censored at STEEMIT. That's because it's a blockchain. WeTree Bonsai says that, and that's true because it's a blockchain, and you can't censor a blockchain. Once it's on the blockchain, it stays on the blockchain. Somebody asked me the other day, how do I delete my post on STEEMIT? And you can't. You can't delete your post on STEEMIT. You can edit it if you want, but once it's on STEEMIT, it's there on STEEMIT. You can't. Only if the community comes together and blacklists you as a whole, which takes a lot of effort. I mean, you really have to make somebody angry to have that happen. There is a guy who had that happen to on STEEMIT. He was plagiarizing recipes and cooking pictures. He was stealing them from another person, and people found it, and the community came together as a whole, and he basically was blacklisted into oblivion because cool. He was stealing recipe after recipe and picture after picture and claiming it as his own and getting paid for it. And the community basically came together as a whole, and he no longer exists on STEEMIT. Let's see. Are you going to the conference in Virginia? I have not been invited to the conference in Virginia. Folks, if you want me to go to conferences, you have to go to the conference and they have to invite me. Tell them you'd like an American Homestead to go to the conferences. However, understand I only do 3 a year. 3 events a year. Because my priority is my family and this homestead. So I only do a few speaking events. I have a speaking event coming up next month in Beaumont, Texas. I will be in Beaumont, Texas. I think all of the tickets are sold out. So if you have a ticket for Beaumont, Texas, July 21st through the 23rd, you're in luck. I'll be there. But I think all the tickets are sold out. So sorry. Zach, are you looking for an apprentice? Am I looking for an apprentice? I don't have time. I wish I could have a robot, I could put to work here as long as you're not in my garden. I don't like garden robots. We talked about that like 2 weeks ago, didn't we?
Yeah.
But no, I can't really take on an apprentice. Sorry. Does STEEMIT have a live stream feature like YouTube? Not yet. We're waiting for SteamQ. When that launches, we don't know what it's going to include. Hopefully it will. We'll have to wait and see. What was your name formula for applying to cabbage? So I got a lot of questions this week when I did the video on tomatoes, and they said, what do I do about broccoli? There was a lady, let me go to the question real quick, who asked about that. And broccoli and cabbage are both the same thing. They're brassicas. Alexis K8821 asked, do you have tips for broccoli? My leaves are getting eaten up. Well, broccoli and cabbage the same way. What you do is you get neem oil and Sal Suds, Dr. Bronner Sal Suds, and you get one of those 1-gallon sprayers, one of the cheap 1-gallon sprayers at Walmart, and you fill it up. It's a 1 gallon of water, and you put 2 tablespoons of each. 2 tablespoons of neem oil, 2 tablespoons of Dr. Bronner Sal Suds. You shake it up real good, and you spray that on your broccoli or on your cabbage plants, and that will stop. I'm guaranteeing you. I've done a video, a side-by-side comparison of a cabbage plant being treated with neem oil and a cabbage plant that has not. And it's an amazing difference. So check it out. Neem oil and Dr. Bronner Sal Sud is the way you want to go. Let's see. Do you keep any records of what you add to the soil to look back on and compare between years? Not really. I mean, I know what I've added to it. It's mostly every year I add as much rabbit poop as I can. As I can haul back, because rabbit poop is an amazing fertilizer. We add lots of wood chips.
Dr. Bronner's Sal, S-A-L, Suds, like soap suds.
Right.
Sal, S-A-L, Suds.
Yeah, so Green Acre Homestead just posted it. Sal Suds, S-A-L, Suds, as in suds, S-U-D-S, as in soap suds. It's an organic natural soap. Organic natural soap. And neem oil is an organic. You can find it over at boogiebrew.net. If you want a website, they sell it together. It's already together, boogiebrew.net. What was I talking about?
Your recipe for, you were going on and on about. Yeah, I thought it was the Sal Suds, and then you.
Oh, what do I do with my soil?
About...
black and compare between years. So basically, every year I add new wood chips, maybe some cardboard or newspaper to keep the weeds down, and then rabbit poop first, and then I put the wood chips on top of everything else. So whatever manures I want to add, and then wood chips. That's how I do it. Oh, how cute! We make Zach feel safe. Yes, you guys, you moderators make me feel safe. Are you a fan of Joel Salatin?
I think it's Salatin.
Salatin. I think it's Joel Salatin. I've heard it pronounced Joel Salatin. Anyway, I don't really know the guy, so I don't know if I'm a fan of him. I don't know if it even has a YouTube channel.
I think he wrote a book, didn't he? I never read it.
I think he's really big into those chicken tractors, and
he was interviewed in Food Incorporated.
Yeah. I'm not big into the chicken tractors. I think chickens ought to free range. I mean, if you want to keep them locked up, if you're into production for chickens, chicken tractors are probably great. But we just let our chickens out every day, and Tim can go to work and do other things. He doesn't have to worry about the chickens. So Albany Homestead wants to know, how often did you apply the mixture of the neem oil and Sal Suds? Every time after it rains. Every time after it rains. That's it. If it rains, put it on again. So it rained yesterday. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to head out there and put it on again because I got about another week before it rains again, it looks like. So every time after it rains. That's simple. Do you grow your own feed for your chickens through the winter? Sometimes we're looking, that's what we want to do with the sugarcane and sorghum, is save that and use it for our chickens. So if we can get good seed heads, we'll save them for our chickens. So that's what we'll do. For the winter. Let's see. I'm going through these things here. Everything I Want to Do is Illegal is really good. I bet that is probably a pretty good book. Joe Salatin, it says, Peoria Dude says, he writes a book called Everything I Want to Do is Illegal. So maybe you guys can check that out. Freaky, that wasn't our problem. We put the application in during the afternoon. I wonder what Benjamin Turner's talking about. I have learned if I put the Sal Suds and neem oil on in direct sunlight in the middle of the afternoon, it can hurt certain plants, like potatoes. I won't put them on my potatoes in the middle of the sun, and in the middle of the afternoon, because it seems like it hurts my potatoes.
I mean, I guess that would make sense. Being soap, it's gonna be rather drying, and if it's in the sun,
I try to put it on in the morning or in the afternoon, like when the sun's going down. So I don't put it on. It's just certain plants, it seemed like. Not all of them, but just some plants, it looked like it hurt them if you put it on in direct sunlight. Let's see. What about the Great Exodus? Oh, I'm not going to talk about that now. The wrong channel. What breed do you use for meat birds? I don't know. We use a mix between the
Australorps and the Orpingtons.
Or buff Orpingtons. It's a good egg bird and meat bird. It can be both. So you kind of mix the two so you can have a good mix between the both. Tim, I think the last week he's been eating guinea because he wanted to get rid of some guinea. So he did. He killed the guinea, and so I think he said we got too many of them, and he's kind of disappointed that they're not, expanding their reach out into other parts of the homestead. So he's been eating a couple of them, and what he does, because they're old, so they're kind of tough. So he pressure cooks them. He has Joanne pressure cook them, and then he's been eating guinea sandwiches for the last week or so. Any orders with the mill? I haven't been even trying for that yet. I'm still trying to keep Tim up on stuff. So I'm just basically giving him, products from the mill and lumber and all that stuff, and materials. So I'm just supplying him with materials right now. I haven't even tried to sell any. But we have some bigger pieces that we put in the solar kiln this last week. The week before last, actually, and that's drying. Those are going to make some really nice, we'll do a video on it, some really nice fireplace mantles, cedar fireplace mantles. So I'm really looking forward to what that's going to turn out, how that's going to turn out. So that's cool. Please do more outside kitchen vids. Well, we really haven't used the outdoor kitchen yet.
We've used it a little, but, it's just not canning yet. I mean, we're just yet. About to get into it.
Well, the peach picking place, we're going to be going to the peach picking place here soon. We'll be doing some more stuff out there. It's not time yet.
When I just have a little bit of cooking to do, I don't use it because it's not worth it for me to start a fire and get the fire hot enough and burn through an available amount of wood just to heat something up for dinner. That's not worth it for me.
When you fire that thing up out there, you're going to use it all day long, or at least for a few hours.
So I need to be doing some major cooking to be getting that going. And I've done some dinners out there, but usually it's, I'm making several things. I'm cooking something in the Dutch oven. I've got something going on top. I'm heating a lot of water, which it would be a big dinner. So all of that to say, I'm normally going to be using it for canning. And when I have that fire going, then I'll make dinner out there also.
Mountain Mama says, okay, inside then.
Okay, you want more cooking videos, you're saying?
Yeah, probably. So then just cooking vids wherever.
Okay.
I don't know. We can do some more this week.
We can do more cooking videos. It would require Zach to be out here filming me and not doing whatever else he's doing.
We'll figure something out. We'll do some more this week. So people said that they would have a waiting list if your dad were rentable.
I know. I have my whole running list in my head. He's going to listen to this later, and he's probably going to laugh because he knows that I always have projects that are going in my head.
He's got lots of projects he wants to do.
I know. He's got a million projects. But I'm not overloading him.
Yeah. Let's see. No cooking vids in the loo. That's just wrong. I don't know what they're talking about. I need Zach and Tim to build me an outdoor oven. Yeah, I don't think you could afford us. It'd be easier for you to do. Go to that website. It's the brick. Let me find it real quick for you.
The brick pizza oven,
wood,
isn't it? Brickwood
ovens. Let's see. I'll find it for you. Hold on. Yeah, it's brick. Hold on. Let me make sure this is right. Yeah, brickwoodomens.com. brickwoodomens.com. You can do it yourself. You guys can do this. We had no knowledge whatsoever.
Yeah, they're not bricklayers.
I mean, it took us like 2 months to build this, or whatever it was, 3 months.
Yeah.
Because we went really slow and we took our time. We had no idea what we were doing. But if you go to brickwoodomens.com, you'll find all kinds of amazing projects that people have done. Now, some of these projects that you'll see on there, these are people who know how to lay brick. They know how to lay rock, and they're really good at what they do. So when they get a project like this, it just makes it look they make it look very easy and amazing. But if you're just a basic guy like me, you're a computer guy. I've never laid this stuff. I've never done this. But you can do an amazing job. They make it very simple, and they give you amazing instructions, PDF, downloadable instructions to do this yourself. You can do it. So it's brickwoodomens.com. Check it out. You don't want me to do it because it'll just take me forever.
I will give one little caution though, is make sure this is what you really want to do, because it requires a lot of time to get going. So if you want to cook with it, you need to be having the fire started in there for a couple hours before you even are able to cook in it. So there are a lot more efficient methods to cook off-grid, if that's your intention. If you just want to make really, really, really good pizza, then go for it.
Yeah. If you want a pizza in 30 minutes or less, this isn't for you. You want to call Domino's. Okay? It takes a while to get it up to heat.
This is like an afternoon project that you would have multiple people working on.
Not building it, but using
somebody,
it.
Using it. Somebody taking care of the fire, somebody making the pizza, I don't think I was prepared for what it really meant. We don't use it as regularly as I thought we would.
Hey guys, hope you enjoyed the show. Check out, if you want more information on that, it's brickwoodsovens.com. Someone just asked a minute ago if I was a computer programmer. I am not. I'm a developer, more on the design side if you're interested, but that's my background. And then I became a homesteader, so that's it for that. But hey guys, listen, thanks for tuning in again this week. We really appreciate you guys, and our thanks to our sponsors, gasspouts.com. Go check them out. You can use the coupon code AAH20 off to get 20% off your order. So really appreciate those. Hey guys, moderators, really appreciate you guys and all you do. So thanks so much. You guys rock. All right, guys. See you next week on the Homestead.